Sigaba secala sahamba i-voter validation lapho khona sithi hamba uye emphakathi wangakini uyohlolisisa ukuthi le mininingwane lowayibhala ingiyo yini nendzawo lapho ovotela khona yonke kahle nje sithi lapho konje hlolisisa imininingwane yakho nathi sibambisane ukuthi imininingwane yakho ibhaleke kahle yini nani hayi phela lokho kuyondeka lepo 22 June kuyale ku 12 July yebo bese ke sigaba lesilandzelako nomination coach lapho khona kubheka ukuthi ngenkundla inominate lokungenani bantu labacala 3 kuya ku 20 kuze ke umuntu anqonye kufuneka lokungenani abe namavoti la 10 ngiyahleka yini mfana babe ngoba ngithi nje lekhaya selisedvo ngitawungena nje ngigijima nonyaka simfaka umuvu lokakake wasendela lutho asimfaka acele ama projects ngokuya phuma ikosha yanti latinzaweni kulama community sithina sifayisana nema problems embamba sithi ngama solution bamba yebo koshi hayi kahle phela benguye kulandzela yena mkhulu ngicela yena yebo bekacela ukuthi ngimbambele kulandzela yena bese ke sigaba lesilandzelako sengama primary elections wona ke lama primary elections atawondeka lepo 26 August 2023 phela koshi bese ke lokulandzelako sengama secondary elections lapho khona wona tawuthatha lepo 29 September 2023 ngiyahleka yini mfana babe ngoba lamkhatheseni kwama primary nalama secondary kutabe kune campaign process lokusho ukuthi umuntu ufuneka atitshengise ukuthi wakhiwe ngani sitawufa amakabishi nani okulandzela mina ngiyabonga sisi
Lo mlayeto nolethelwa baka EBC Elections and Boundaries Commission of Eswatini.
Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News at 8. I am Nancy Lesitole alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, let's have a look at our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III urges the country's police service to ensure that they conduct themselves with integrity while executing their mandate. Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has landed in Italy to represent His Majesty King Mswati III at the UN Food Systems Summit. Former South African President Thabo Mbeki has joined Waterford Kamhlaba's College's Africa Week celebration. The news. His Majesty King Mswati III has urged the police service in the country to ensure that they conduct themselves with integrity while executing their mandate. The King, who is the National Commissioner-in-Chief of the Police, says misconduct by one officer can taint the image of the entire police service. His Majesty was speaking at the Police Day and passing out parade at the Police Academy in Matapa.
The nation braved the chilly weather and converged at the Police Academy to commemorate Police Day and to witness the passing out of police recruits who were undergoing training. The event afforded the Commissioner-in-Chief of the Police Service, His Majesty King Mswati III, an opportunity to recognize and appreciate the important role the police play in safeguarding the nation's safety and security. The event was graced by Her Majesty the Queen Mother, Emakosigati to His Majesty the King, members of the royal family, and guests who included police chiefs from the SADC region. Upon his arrival, the National Commissioner-in-Chief observed the singing of the national anthem before he inspected the parade. The spotlight was cast on the 594 graduating recruits who took an oath of office before their majesties and the nation.
Ngeliciniso kuNkulunkulu kwethembeka. Ngisebentele inkosi Mswati wesithathu. Kanye nalamanye emakhosi layawulandzela. Sive seMaswati. Nakubo bonke labahlala eveni leSwatini. Ngisesekhona embuthweni wemaphoyisa.
His Majesty the King mandated the new recruits to discharge their duties with honesty and integrity. The King warned that misconduct by one officer taints the image of the entire police service.
Lokumqoka kuhlala wethembekile. Kuhlala ubambe nje uba nithethe netifungo maphoyisa kuthi kwathi ukuthi umsebenzi lena wenda ngemaqiniso hayi ngemanga hayi nangekulandzela buqili keja kulandzela amaqiniso ngoba iqiniso ngilona leliphilisa umuntu maphoyisa ukuthi ke kona kwamunye emkhathini wenu kuyidisgrace kinonke linenikhona la kumqoka ke ukuthi ke wonke lo la ati role yakhe ukuthi any mistake le tawendiwa nguye iyawube affecta bonke laba ngakho ke kufanele ngilona loyo atimisele ukuthi uyawusebenza umsebenzi longeyo maphoyisa. Umsebenzi wenu maphoyisa uyekubona ukuthi live linekuthula lihle likahle sive sihleti kahle siyakhona kuphila kahle lesithatha nelithuba lekujumisa emaphoyisa labeka khona lamadzala lenwakhanzile maphoyisa lawa lafika kulamasha kuwathumisa emsebentini ngekutimisela asebende ngekuthembeka nangekuhlonipha nangekulandzela umthetho ngoba konke lesikwendako la kangwane asikwendi phansi kwematafula yonke into yendiwe ebaleni kukhanye ukuthi kulandela umthetho kude lokwendiwa kungakalandzela umthetho siyawathumisa ke maphoyisa ngoba umsebenzi wawo nebuphoyisa abubeke embili buyawuhlale buhlonipheka eveni ngesigaba la sithatha umaphoyisa.
His Majesty the King applauded the police for their collaboration with other law agencies in ensuring that offenders of the law face the courts.
Siyathumisa kakhulu lo ukuthi nibambisana kahle nemoya omuhle nawo lama agencies esengiwabalile nikwathi ukuthi nithumele igama lelifanele kulabo labaphambene nemthetho ukuthi umthetho nawuphambane nawo umthetho uyawusithatha sigaba sawo awukhathaleke ukuthi kukanjani nawubhange nemthetho umthetho ufanele uthathe sigaba sawo lokuhle ukuthi nanisebenza yonke lemsebenzi anikwendi malicious nikwenda ngeorder nikwende nangekulandzela similo sokuthi umuntu ufanele ahanjiswe kanje kuze inkantolo ufike esigabeni sokuthi kube ne decision konke lokhu kuyathumiseka lo msebenzi lenwenda kuloyo maphoyisa.
Prime Minister Cleopas Sipho-Dlamini says the police service has remained resolute in its determination to serve the nation and that this has resulted in crime decreasing by 7% and road accidents by 5.9%.
Year after year, various strategies are deployed to keep the rate of crime minimal and reduce the incidence of traffic accidents. In the past operational year, for instance, volume of crime decreased by a margin of 7%, while serious and fatal traffic accidents went down by 5.9% and 3.2% respectively. Results such as these are encouraging, especially given Your Majesty's ongoing government's initiative to bolster investment flows to the economy.
The National Commissioner-in-Chief announced the promotion of officers. Vusi Masango has been promoted into the rank of Senior Deputy National Commissioner. 4 officers were promoted into the rank of Deputy National Commissioner, and these are Bonisile Makubu, Wendy Hleta, Melusis Melane, and Meshak Jalinjali. Outstanding recruits who excelled in academics and other categories were awarded by His Majesty the King. The police service did not break the tradition of making an annual donation of 50,000 emalangeni to Philani Maswati charity organization. For Eswatini TV, I am Sandile Makanya at the Police Academy in Matsapa.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Themba Masuku, has arrived in Rome to represent His Majesty King Mswati III during the UN Food Summit that starts on the 24th of July 2023.
The Deputy Prime Minister arrived in Italy through the Rome International Airport just after midday local time. Masuku, who is in the company of his wife Dimpo Masuku, is in Rome to represent His Majesty King Mswati III during the Food and Systems Summit that is organized by the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO. The summit will look at the implementation of the 2020 agreement, where UN member states agreed to increase food production while being cognizant of the environment to combat climate change. FAO reports that a lot of food is lost through poor storage systems in member states. That's another issue that heads of state and government will deliberate on in trying to solicit ways of improving their storage systems. FAO also noted that during exportation, some food do perish. Hence, the meeting will have to find alternative ways of ensuring that food that is produced from all over the world reach the market early. Upon arrival in Rome, Masuku was received by Eswatini High Commissioner in London, Thandazile Mboisa. The meeting will commence on Monday the 24th until the 26th of July 2023. For Eswatini TV News, I am Lincoln Gule in Rome.
Minister of Economic Planning and Development, Dr. Tambo Gina, says Eswatini is on the right track in achieving 2 out of 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Dr. Gina says by 2030, Eswatini would have achieved Goals 6 and 7 of the SDGs, which are clean water and sanitation, as well as affordable and clean energy. The minister has said this during a briefing session on the 2023 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Summit preparations and the development of the 2023 to 2030 SDG Rescue Plan.
The UN 2023 SDG Summit is set to take place in September 2023 in the United States of America. The Minister of Economic Planning and Development, Dr. Tambo Gina, says during the summit, heads of state will look into the progress made in implementing Agenda 2030 on the Sustainable Development Goals following numerous catastrophes like COVID-19, climate change, as well as high inflation rate.
The Eswatini government finds it critical to review where the country stands in terms of meeting the 2030 SDG targets and to understand what policy measures need to be put in place in order to resolve the SDGs, in order to rescue the SDGs that are at risk of not being met by 2030.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator George Wachira says the reality is that the multiple crises of the last 3 years have dealt a major blow to the implementation efforts of the SDGs globally, including Eswatini.
The SDG Summit comes at a time after Eswatini presented its second voluntary national review of the SDGs in 2022, and that report has highlighted several key achievements.
Minister Dr. Gina says national level preparation of the SDG Summit will include extensive stakeholder consultations which will be held at regional and national levels in the coming few weeks and will culminate in the production of the Eswatini SDG Rescue Plan covering the period 2023-2030. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, Utsabanele Mtsetwa in his Mova Show, Mountain View, Mbabane.
Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, says the youth are agents of change when it comes to climate change. Vilagati said this during the Environment and Climate Change Awareness Expo at UTech. The expo was also attended by the Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard.
During the Environment and Climate Change Awareness Expo, the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Kangezwe Mabuza.
The interlinked and cascading effects of climate change, biodiversity loss and pollution, which is a triple planetary crisis, are exerting an enormous amount of pressure on individuals, communities, and governments. We therefore need more action from governments, businesses, and investors, and indeed from everyone. This is time for action.
The Minister of Education and Training, Lady Howard, encourages other schools to send applications in order to start environment management projects. The Minister further mentions that if every learner can implement what they have learned from the Environment and Climate Change Awareness Expo, the country can win the fight against climate change.
Kungathiwa wonke umfana ngamunye uyatithatha letindzaba leti uyawathatha lama skills lawatholile la ushona nawo emakhaya kuyakhanya ukuthi i-environment ingabuyela iphile ibe ngiyo ngoba ungakhanza ukuthi wonke umuntu lokhona eSwatini wenda lokungiko in as far as the environment is concerned.
During the expo, it was announced that applications to the Environment Fund have been opened for schools and organizations. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Bheki Mazibuko, Big Bend.
Former South African President Thabo Mbeki says African nations have a good capacity for policy formation, but they lack the zeal to implement those policies. Mbeki has said this during the Africa Week celebration by Waterford Kamhlaba College. We have a report.
As Africans, certainly on the continent, we've shown a very, very good capacity for policy formation and very, very serious deficiency with regard to the will to implement.
The Waterford Kamhlaba principal, Jaco Otula, says this commemoration is important to the college.
We are proud of our students who are not just waiting to be leaders of tomorrow, but rather taking the initiative of providing leadership at the present moment.
A panel consisting of Water Services Corporation Managing Director Jabulile Mashwama, former PS Clifford Mamba, and UN Eswatini Strategic Planner Benjamin Ofosu-Korodeng had deliberations on how the African continent can be liberated from foreign aid.
I think a big flagship project that we need to do is one that takes care of early and efficient and meaningful education, targeting the youth and targeting women.
It's developing our local Eswatini projects that will then feed into the much bigger regional ones and, of course, by extension, Africa-wide.
Is the whole area around research and development in the context of what works for us.
This is the 5th edition of the United World College Africa Week commemoration. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Suyakoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini, Babane.
The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Philip Nisi, says for learners to contribute to the country's socio-economic development, they must commit themselves to their education. The governor said this during the Model United Nations Conference hosted by Waterford Kamhlaba.
The Model United Nations Conference is a popular activity for those interested in learning more about how the UN operates. Hundreds of thousands of students worldwide take part every year at all educational levels. This year, the United World College invited 10 local schools, including 2 schools from Mozambique. The governor of the Central Bank of Eswatini, Dr. Philip Nisi, shared words of encouragement.
Your education, exposure, and experience will not only benefit you, but your family, your school, and your community, and the world at large. These 3 E's will open doors that you perhaps thought will never open. And know that these 3 E's are not only attained from this Model United Nations Summit. You can find them from interacting with your peers, your teachers, or even the smallest insect that holds a lifetime of information. Hunger and thirst for education, search for exposure, and acquire experience, and let these be the basis of your growth and development.
The United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres says through this meeting, countries are taking real action to support UN values and the Sustainable Development Goals. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Sikumbuzo Dlamini, Babane.
The Elections and Boundaries Commission says it is all systems go for nomination weekend. This has been confirmed by EBC Communications Officer Mbonisi Bembe during an interview with Eswatini TV. Bembe says all registered Emaswati will be eligible to stand for election or nominate others.
Emaswati have registered for the general elections, validated the voters' roll, and now the time for nomination is finally at the doorstep. The Elections and Boundaries Commission says all preparations have been made and the commission is ready for the weekend.
Libandla alikhuthaze eMaswati ukuthi akabe ingcenye yawo lo msebenzi.
Bembe says polling officers and all staff working in the elections have been educated and are very clear about what they are expected to do over the weekend. He says Emaswati should feel free to come and participate, as this is a very important task for Emaswati. He says this is the first step towards having a government elected by the people. The commission says law enforcement agencies will be present in all nomination centers to ensure peace and order. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Sikumbuzo Dlamini, Lobamba.
There will be changes in Eswatini TV programs this weekend. This follows that Eswatini TV will be broadcasting the nominations. This has been said by the Eswatini TV Public Relations Officer, Nompumelelo Dlamini.
We would like to inform all our viewers of the interruption in scheduling for the coming weekend. As of tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, we will be bringing the national nominations from all 4 regions of the country, Hohomanzini, Shiselweni and Lubombo, live to you as they happen. We will do so in the morning and in the afternoon. Our morning slot will be from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30. Our afternoon slot will be from 1 to 2 p.m. And in the evening, we'll not broadcast Tinzaba for 30 minutes, but Tinzaba will be for an hour as we bring the nominations live to you from all different regions. Hoho, Manzini, Shiselweni, and Lubombo. Again, I would like to remind our viewers that even if we are not glued on our television set back at home, we are also available on our OTT platforms. That is our YouTube page and the Eswatini TV Facebook page. You can still catch the live nominations from the different regions of the country live on the times given to you.
And now we'll have an ad break followed by a look at our financial indicators.
It's the Great Price Rewind at Spar. You could be one of our lucky instant rewards customers to win your entire shop at a price from 1968. To enter, buy any participating product, like 5 Roses tagless tea bags, 100s for only $44.99, and 1 liter liquid fruit. Buy any 2 for just 46 mln. Swipe your new Spar Rewards card, and you could be one of thousands of winners in the Great Price Rewind. Only at Spar.
And in our sports roundup, we begin with the national team, Sihlang Semnigati, that has been ranked 146th in the latest FIFA rankings out of 208 nations. 2022 FIFA World Cup champions, Argentina still top the rankings, followed by France.
And in our sports roundup, we begin with the national team, Sihlang Semnigati, that has been ranked 146 out of 208 nations in the latest FIFA rankings. Sihlang did not move from the usual position when last the rankings were released last month. In April this year, Sihlang was ranked 144. In Africa, the top nation is Morocco, that is ranked 14th, while Senegal are second in Africa and are ranked 18th in the world. Under the SADC region, South Africa are ranked 63rd in the world. 2022 World Cup champions Argentina are still number 1 in the FIFA World Rankings, followed by France. Women's ranking are expected to be released by the end of this month after the conclusion of the ongoing FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand, respectively. Moving on to international news, the 2023 Women FIFA World Cup started on a high note, with both host nations Australia and New Zealand starting with a win. African representative Nigeria were held by Canada. Lastly, in our international news, Cameroonian goalkeeper Andre Onana is officially a Manchester United player and has signed a 5-year contract. The 27-year-old costed Manchester United over £42 million. Lastly, Jordi Alba, Spanish defender, is the latest former FC Barcelona star to join Inter Miami from the United States of America under the Major League Soccer. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mpawane.
Before I head out, here's a look at our financial indicators. That's all for now. Before I go, here's a reminder of our top stories. His Majesty King Mswati III urges the country's police service to ensure that they conduct themselves with integrity while executing their mandate. Deputy Prime Minister Themba Masuku has landed in Italy to represent His Majesty King Mswati III at the UN Food Systems Summit. Former South African President Thabo Mbeki has joined Waterford Gamhlaba's College's Africa Week celebration. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Stay tuned for the weather update from myself and the team. Many thanks for your company. Here's to the weekend.
Sifiso sahulumende welive lakangwane ukuthi lonke eliswati liphile impilo lenhle nalenethekile. Uphumelelisa lesifiso, uhulumende waseSwatini wabathi imali esikhwameni se-Regional Development Fund, i-RDF, micro projects kanye naleto letikhishwa amatiko lahlukahlukene. Kuleti khwama uhulumende usukumisa imisebenzi yentuthuko nenhlalakahle kusuka emimangweni nasemiphakathini lapho kuhleli khona eMaswati. Timali leti khwama ngetingabuyiselwa emuva kanti kedabelwa tonke tinkundla velonke. Bukela luhlelo sive siyathuthuka utibonele imisebenzi yentuthuko nenhlalakahle eseyiguquleke tinkulungwane tetimpilo teMaswati. Luhlelo lungena njalo ngalesine laseshaya gabanca insimbi yesiphohlongo kusihlwa, ngalesihlanu ngensimbi yelishumi ekseni, nangemgcibelo ngensimbi yesine entsambama. Sive siyathuthuka, intuthuko yetinkundla, intuthuko yeMaswati.
It's the Great Price Rewind at Spa. You could be one of our lucky instant rewards customers to win your entire shop at a prize from 1968. To enter, buy any participating product, like Nola Mayonnaise. Buy any 2 for only 60 emalangeni. And for 50-gram Bacoma Wheat Bix, buy 2 for just 48 emalangeni. Swipe your new Spar Rewards card, and you could be one of thousands of winners in the Great Price Rewind. Only at Spar.
Phela makhaya inkosi nangabe phela udikhohliwe timbe phathakho buye eceleni ubuye eceleni phela thina sijaka emsebentini awungeke phela ukhohlela le-ID nalenombolo yokuvota lile basifakele yona phela la tincingweni ha yibonini buye eceleni nkosi yathi ngijaka emsebentini kwani mina hayi wena msawumnye ngathi igaba lesithathu ihamba phela nkosi titsi nyalo sigaba secala sasihamba yi-voter validation lapho khona sithi hamba uye emphakathi wangakini uyohlolisisa ukuthi le mininingwane lowayibhala ingiyo yini nendzawo lanto ovotela khona yonke kahle nje sithi lapho nkosi hlolisisa imininingwane yakho nathi sibambisane ukuthi imininingwane yakho ibhaleke kahle yini nani hayi phela lokho kutawondeka lebo 22 June kuyaleka ku12 July yebo bese ke sigaba lesilandzelako sey-nomination coach lapho khona kubheka ukuthi ngenkundla inominate lokungenani bantu labacela 3 kuya ku20 kuze ke umuntu anqonye kufuneka lokungenani abe nemavotilani 10. Ngiyahleka yini mfana babe ngoba ngithi nje lekhaya selisedvo ngitawungena nje ngigijima nonyaka simfaka umuvu